I want to tell you about the changes in my schedule that has happened, and also get some help and direction from you. So I initially signed up to take the test earlier in April, but then I changed it. This was actually before this. I keep changing it. So at some point, I've had was like 10 weeks, 2 months study time that I asked you for a schedule, and then you gave me, and then I had a panic attack, and then because of this, I went to emergency.
Oh my God!
I can't even imagine. It was horrible. So I had to stop it and say, you know what? We're not gonna do this. We're gonna take it a long time and not focus on, how much time I need, rather than study the materials that I need to study, instead of being in the time pressure. So that's why after all I had to go through like a therapy as well, because
Sure.
it wasn't easy. So now I'm back, and I talked to my therapist, like, oh, can you help me say what is gonna be good for me? She recommended me longer period of time, maybe in August or sometime like this, and not worry about the time, rather just focus on the process of this, something that you also recommend. Especially for me, it's not good. Time pressure, it's horrible idea. So I'm contacting you today to ask you for effective and also realistic plan for me in terms of study time and schedule. And also, I guess you need to send me another schedule. And so here's the thing. My goal actually right now, it's not to get just any score, but because I put everything on hold and I'm going to take another year to prepare for this. So might as well do great. And also scholarship is something I really need. So yeah, get a really good score and not being under time pressure. Maybe even take longer time if you suggest that I should. So
of course. So I'm glad to help. Thanks for the update. I'm glad that you've got support now, and I hope that you're doing better.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Of course. And I agree with what your therapist said about allowing more time and not focusing on the timing too much right now in terms of the time pressure of the exam. I would say focus on building that foundation, getting your accuracy solid first, and then you can introduce timing down the line as you feel comfortable. You might also look into extra time accommodations if you think that you might qualify or if that might serve you given where you're at.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's actually what my therapist recommend. You can sign up for extra time if that's something is required for you, because time is a very because she knows me really well in terms of my science background and how well I do in school. So I said, time is something I get panicked. Like sometimes even at work, if I know I have time, I would just do it right now, like even paying consequences for it. But because I'm so, I have anxiety over time. Let's put it that way.
Sure. So that I would seek that out. And it's always better to start that process earlier rather than later, because LSAT can take a while. But since you're taking the LSAT on a longer timeline anyway now, there probably isn't a huge rush. So if LSAT takes weeks to get back to you, follow up with them. But if you're aiming to take the LSAT in August at the earliest, and we're speaking now in February, that gives you a good 5-6 months to work that out.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of planning and like how many hours of a day I need to dedicate to this studying, what would you recommend with my situation?
Sure. Well, tell me more about what your daily schedule is like, or your weekly obligations are like right now.
Yes, also that's something I left out with. I have a full-time job, so 8 hours a day. So the way my work schedule is, I can either work in the morning or work at night. So I'm much more sharp and productive in the morning than at night, because my work is very intense, like scientific work, so requires a lot of focus. And by the time I'm after work, I'm just crashed. Like I just need to relax. I can't focus. Even my focus goes away. So morning up until like 10 or 11 even, I have plenty of good time to dedicate that to it. Yeah.
Excellent.
But I work full time. That's something I do 5 times a week. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. And so since you have a longer timeline, you're aiming for August at the earliest, you don't need to put in 20 hours a week on the LSAT right now. I'm not sure that's realistic given that you have a taxing full-time job. I'd say maybe if you can carve out even just an hour in the morning on weekdays before you start your full-time job, that can let you keep some momentum going. And then you don't have to place the obligation on yourself to also study at night when you're already tired. But
that won't work. Even if I wanted to study at night, I wouldn't be as sharp as in the morning.
Yeah, I wouldn't even try for now, at least. Down the line, maybe you'll want to cycle in a little bit of that as test day gets closer and as you feel comfortable. But for now, I'd say just an hour in the morning on weekdays, and then maybe you can do a bit more on weekends.
On the weekends, yeah. So on the weekends, how many hours would you recommend for me to put in?
What do you have going on the weekends currently?
I technically like to keep my weekends like relaxing time because of my work schedule. Like it's very intense and mentally draining. But I do readings and things like this on the basis. So I can dedicate time to it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would say maybe 3 hours on weekends. So maybe if you do on the weekend something like 9 to 12 or 8 to 11, whenever you wake up, you could do a few hours in the morning, since you said the morning's when you're sharpest anyway. You take breaks throughout those 3 hours or so. Then you have the rest of the day free to relax.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so because I know you recommend a little bit of it better than nothing. So so by the time it's going to be in August, sorry. In August, would I still retain all this information, or do I need to maybe review all these materials? Because it's going to be like how many months? 5 or 6 months?
I'm not sure I understand the question, because if you're going to be working pretty consistently, if you're going to be doing the LSAT studying every week, then why wouldn't you retain it?
Yeah, I was just afraid maybe I will not remember like the things I studied in March, like back in August. That's a long gap. So,
well, if you did nothing between now and then yeah, you could get rusty, of course. But if you're working on the LSAT every single week between now and then, you're not going to get rusty. What you're doing now, you're going to keep building on that and keep practicing that. So let's say hypothetically, I'll just make up some example now. Let's say hypothetically you work on grouping logic games now. So you could study grouping logic games and focus on that for a day or for a couple of days, and then move on to logical reasoning and reading comp, but you'll still go back to logic games frequently. So the logic games work won't get rusty. You're going to keep working on it. You might be working on things untimed by question type earlier in the process to build that foundation, but you will still keep encountering those questions, even when you're doing individual timed sections or full-length exams. You're going to keep encountering them, just in different contexts. But the skills that you're practicing now, you'll continue using them throughout.
Yeah, and then I have to do in the schedule. I also have a full-length exams, right? So that will be a good reason to not forget things, right?
Exactly. That's the whole point. We're building up to that, and you can cycle them in throughout as well. And by the way, I wanted to mention that the plan I laid out for you of doing maybe an hour a day on weekdays in the morning and then maybe 3 hours a day on weekends, that's just one hypothetical schedule. There might be some mornings where you don't want to touch the LSAT at all. There might be another morning where you wake up extra early for some reason because you can't sleep, and maybe you'll want to do a bit more than if that would serve you. But you have a long enough time.
It's funny because that's exactly what my therapist told me. It's like one day you just feel like you don't want to do it. Don't force yourself. But then next day, maybe you do 2 hours or longer. So then keep as much as you can. Exactly. That's very,
Yeah, do what you feel you need. But I also wouldn't want you to, if you skip one day, you don't need to automatically double up on the next day. Especially imagine if, let's say, you got sick or there was a family issue or something that took you out of the LSAT for a week. You shouldn't then try to cram it all in to make up for it whenever you get back into it. You have a long enough timeline that you can take it slow, and you don't need to ever feel the need to cram on this.
Yes. Okay. And then, so you changed your website, right? I'm not familiar with it as much. So if you can please tell me what are the things I need to do in terms of watching videos, learning the content, which is in the videos, right? And then doing the practice tests that it's recommended by you.
Of course. Yeah. I actually created an entire orientation video in the new course platform to show you the walkthrough. So it's under foundation, the foundation section. One of the very first videos is the orientation specifically for the new course website to show you how to navigate it and show you where to find different things. So take a look at that. If you still have questions after watching it, let me know, but I'm actually showing and demoing what it looks like.
Oh, perfect. Now, I haven't watched. I'll definitely watch it. Okay. The other question I have, so yes, do you recommend other resources besides your videos and practice exams that I do? Do you think I would be, because I have no, like say I'm freshly brained, like I had no idea about LSAT, right? And I wanted to start learning all these skills and everything. Would all your materials be good enough, or I can like read a book on the side, or look into other things?
That's a great question. I mean, if you want to use a book, but I've got so many videos in the course at all different levels. So the foundation section, for example, I give detailed walkthroughs of all sections, all question types for total beginners. And then there are also the workshops, which are live class recordings going in much more depth on the specifics. So I'd say go through all the foundational material first inside the course with all the videos, because those will give you the strong foundation in each section and each question type, and better prepare you to then do specific practice problems of each type. And the live class workshops, where there are recordings of those as well, will give you the walkthroughs.
Okay, the live classes will be walkthroughs through questions that people ask, or is it something you come up and answer?
I'm not sure how to answer that, because it's kind of a mix of both. So we have a certain question type on the agenda. So let's say logical reasoning principle questions. There might be a little bit of theory at the beginning just to give people a recap in terms of what these questions are and how to approach them. And then you'll go through a handful of questions of that type live in class with the other students too.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So I really like that you added the course to the Google Calendar, because that I can sync it to my calendar. It's very great. But the problem is that at that time I'm working. So I know that you record them, right?
Yeah, they're all recorded.
Yeah. So if I would listen to this recording, I would still have an idea of what type of question people ask. And then if I have a question, then I had to dedicate it one time to come and ask you questions.
And you can also submit questions in advance, even if you can't make a class. There's a form on the website. You can just submit questions or requests for future classes, and then I'll do what I can to work them into the schedule for an upcoming class. So, of course, it's great if you can attend live. I understand scheduling conflicts are inevitable, especially when you're offering as many classes as I am. I don't think anybody attends all of them, which is totally fine. Attend and pick and choose what you're able to. And if you miss anything, of course, they're always recorded. And then even if you can't attend a class live, we'll still try to get to your question in class too.
Yeah. So the live classes are not recorded?
No, they are.
They are recorded as well. Okay.
Yeah, every class is recorded and uploaded to the course platform. So anything you miss, it'll all be there. And so the course library is growing more and more and more over time. I've done, I think, at least 5 or 6 classes on just logical reasoning flaw questions alone from all different angles. And so we're going to have multiple perspectives covering all different stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. That's great. That answers all of my questions. The website, LawHub, and then, yes, I will definitely apply for accommodation. So do you know anything about what accommodation is different compared to the regular in terms of time?
Yeah, sure. So LSAC, for extra time accommodations, they will typically offer time and a half. So instead of 35 minutes per section, you would get 53 minutes per section. That's typically what they offer. But there are also students who get double time. So they get 70 minutes per section instead of the original 35 or even 53. So time and a half is 53 minutes. Double time is 70 minutes per section. It's also possible to get additional breaks between sections. So for the LSAT Flex, which is only 3 scored sections back to back and you're done, extra time accommodations might involve a break in there somewhere, along with having more time, of course. But then for the new online 4-section LSAT beginning in August, there's going to be 4 sections, not 3, because they're adding back in the experimental section.
Oh, okay. So when I'm preparing for August, I should be okay, or I shouldn't be okay with the strategy of studying right now?
No, you'll be okay with the strategy. But
Yeah.
I also want you to know that this is a very recent update. They just announced it last week that starting in August, they're going to add that 4th unscored experimental section to the online LSAT. So that will just change how you take your practice tests, but nothing else changes in terms of content or anything like that. Just to update you, did you hear about the change, by the way?
No, I did not. Thank you for telling me.
Of course. So I'll tell you that I'll give you a brief rundown of it then. So basically, the LSAT historically has always had an unscored, unknown experimental section. The LSAT Flex, due to COVID, they removed it temporarily just because they were getting used to administering the LSAT online with ProctorU and such, and they didn't want to allow breaks for maybe test security reasons or logistical reasons. But they can't do that forever because they have to be able to test out future questions. The way they do that is with an experimental section. So it's going to be one of logic games, logical reasoning, or reading comprehension. It'll be a full-length section, not meant to be easier or harder than anything else, and you won't know which one it is during the exam. So you'll have 2 sections back-to-back. You'll have a break of probably 10 minutes, and then another 2 sections back-to-back. One of those 4 sections will be the unscored, unknown experimental section, any of games, reasoning, or reading comp. And so what this means for you basically is that you prep like normal, except you do 4 sections and you give yourself that break. But if you get extra time accommodations, you want to prep with the time that you're actually going to have on test day, whether it's time and a half or double time. And you'll also want to practice with that break. And you might see whether LSAT might give you an additional break as well, based on your situation.
Oh, I see. Okay. And starting August, so July does not apply to that.
Yeah, and there's actually not an LSAT in July this year. So the upcoming LSATs as we speak now, the February LSAT just finished. Then there's going to be April, then June, and then August.
June and August. Yeah, there's no July. Yeah. Okay, but the August has this. Okay, so I need to practice for it. And it's going to be, so instead of being 2 hours, it will be how long again?
Great question. Yes. So with the LSAT Flex, with 3 sections back to back, it would be just about 2 hours. If we're adding in a 10-minute break, plus, let's say, if you take the break to go to the bathroom and leave the room, when you come back in, they're going to want to briefly re-verify your ID and such, things of that nature to make sure it's still you. And then you'll do the other 2 sections. So if we're adding in 10-minute break, plus another, let's say, 2 minutes just to re-verify security, and they'll maybe scan the room or something to make sure there's no prohibited items. Then you do another 35-minute section. So that's adding on approximately another 47 minutes. So let's say, just hypothetically, 2 hours and 45 minutes or so. 2 hours, 47 minutes.
It's only 45 minutes.
Approximately, yeah. And that's assuming standard timing. If you have accommodations, then, of course, it could be a bit longer.
Longer. Okay, I see. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah. To know, and thank you for letting me know. So now I can prepare, because the Law Hub already has 4 sections, so I might as well do everything.
The only thing with that is that the Law Hub is the 4th section's logical reasoning, because the old LSAT pre-COVID was 2 scored logical reasoning sections, 1 games, 1 reading comp. So you don't always want to practice with logical reasoning as your extra section, because it could be any one of games, reasoning, or reading comp. So you might want to occasionally mix in a section from another exam.
Oh, I see. Because the section that they're adding is the reading comp, not the logic. The reading comp they're adding, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
You mean in Law Hub?
No, the new test that they're adding, the experimental portion is reading comp, not the logic games.
No, it could be anything. We don't know what it's, you don't know what it's going to be, because they're testing out questions of all different types.
I see. Okay, yeah. So that's why you recommended, just do everything, like all of these 3 sections first, and then add an extra section.
Right. So do one of games, one of logical reasoning, one of reading comprehension, and then you're going to want to rotate which extra section you insert as your unscored, unknown experimental section. Of course, it could be logical reasoning, and logical reasoning is probably easiest to do using LawHub, but you should also use games or reading comp instead to mix it up, because what you do on test day could be anything.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. All right. I guess that's all I have question. Yes. And so I will ask you for a new schedule if you can share with me, and then I'll start from the foundation, the orientation videos, and take it from there.
Of course. Yes. I'll send it over after we get off this call.
Thank you so much for all your help.
Of course. Great catching up with you. I'll see you in class soon. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.